Most people think quitting happens suddenly, like a switch turning off. But psychology says something else. Giving up is not a moment. It's a process. A slow mental erosion. You don't quit because you're weak. You quit because your mind convinces you that stopping is logical. And the people who never give up, they don't have stronger bodies. They have different mental wiring. Let's break it down. The first lie of the mind. The human brain is designed for survival, not greatness. Survival prefers comfort. Greatness demands discomfort. The moment you start something difficult, your brain sends signals. This is risky. This is uncomfortable. This is unnecessary. Your brain isn't protecting your dreams. It's protecting your energy. That's the first lie. If it feels hard, it must be wrong. People who never give up understand one thing early. Pain is not danger. Discomfort is not a warning. It's a confirmation. Why most people stop halfway. Psychologically, the hardest phase is not the beginning. It's the middle. At the start, motivation is high. Hope is alive. Expectations are unrealistic. In the middle, results are slow. Effort feels invisible. Doubt becomes loud. The brain hates uncertainty. When results don't match effort, the brain looks for an escape route. That escape route is called, maybe this isn't for me. People who quit don't lack discipline. They lack tolerance for delayed reward. Never quitters train their mind to live without validation. The identity shift. Here's a psychological secret. People who never give up don't rely on willpower. They rely on identity. They don't say, I'm trying to succeed. They say, this is who I am. Once something becomes identity, quitting feels like self-betrayal. A person who identifies as a runner will run, even on bad days. A person who identifies as disciplined will show up, even when motivation dies. Never giving up is not an action. It's a self-image. Why motivation is a trap. Motivation is emotional. Emotions are unstable. Depending on motivation means your consistency depends on mood. Psychology proves this. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Never quitters don't ask, do I feel like doing this? They ask, what would someone like me do right now? They act first. Feelings adjust later. Pain versus meaning. Pain without meaning feels unbearable. Pain with meaning feels purposeful. That's why two people can suffer the same struggle. One quits, one survives. The difference is interpretation. Never quitters attach meaning to pain. This pain is building me. This struggle is shaping me. This resistance is proof I'm growing. Meaning changes psychology. It turns suffering into fuel. The silent advantage of suffering. Struggle rewires the brain. Repeated exposure to difficulty builds mental calluses, emotional control, stress tolerance. People who never give up don't avoid pain. They normalize it. Pain becomes familiar. Fear loses its power. What once felt unbearable becomes routine. That's psychological conditioning. Why quitting feels so tempting. Quitting gives instant relief. The brain loves instant relief. The moment you quit, anxiety drops. Pressure disappears. Responsibility ends. That relief is addictive. Never quitters are aware of this trap. They know. Short-term relief creates long-term regret. They choose long-term respect over short-term comfort. The loneliness factor. Another harsh truth. The path of not giving up is lonely. When you stop fitting in, when your pace changes, when your standards rise, people become uncomfortable. Never quitters accept loneliness as a phase, not a punishment. They understand. Being alone is temporary. Being average is permanent. Mental repetition builds resilience. The brain believes what it hears repeatedly. Never quitters don't use positive affirmations. They use grounded self-talk. This is hard, and I can handle hard.
I've survived worse.
Quitting doesn't remove the problem, it delays it. This internal dialogue matters more than external. Motivation. Why consistency beats intensity.
Intensity burns fast.
Consistency rewires the brain slowly. Small actions repeated daily send a powerful message to the subconscious. I am reliable. Self-trust builds resilience. Never quitters trust themselves because they've kept promises, even small ones. The final psychological truth. People who never give up aren't fearless. They feel doubt. They feel exhaustion. They feel like quitting. The difference is simple but brutal. They don't obey every thought. They understand. Thoughts are suggestions, not commands. And sometimes the strongest psychological move is this. Show up anyway. Closing, strong ending. Never giving up is not heroic. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It's waking up tired and still moving. It's continuing without applause. It's trusting the process when results are invisible. Most people quit when it stops being exciting. The few who don't, they don't win because they're special. They become special because they never stopped. Failure itself doesn't break people. Meaningless failure does. When someone fails repeatedly without understanding why, the mind starts labeling the pain as pointless. And pointless pain is unbearable. People who never give up do something different. They analyze instead of emotionalize. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this teaching me? That small shift protects the mind from collapse. The brain's need for progress. The brain doesn't need success. It needs evidence of progress. No progress equals hopelessness. Hopelessness equals quitting. Never quitters create progress artificially. Smaller goals. Micro wins. Daily proof of movement. Even when the big picture is unclear, they keep the mind fed with forward motion. Motion keeps hope alive. Why comparing yourself kills persistence? Comparison creates psychological distortion. You see someone ahead and assume they had it easier. They started earlier. They're more talented. But the mind never compares full story. Only highlights. Never quitters compare only one thing. Am I better than yesterday? That keeps the brain focused inward, not distracted outward. The emotional weight of starting over. One of the hardest psychological moments, starting again after failure. The mind whispers, you already tried. You already failed. What's the point now? Never quitters understand a brutal truth. Starting over is not weakness. It's proof you didn't let failure define you. They detach ego from progress. Ego versus growth. Ego wants comfort, validation, recognition. Growth wants repetition, humility, patience. Quitting often happens when ego gets hurt, not when ability runs out. Never quitters sacrifice ego for evolution. They don't need to look strong. They need to become strong. Why routine beats inspiration. Inspiration is unpredictable. Routine is reliable. Never quitters design their life, so progress doesn't depend on emotion.
Same time. Same place.
Same process. Routine removes decision fatigue. When there's no decision, there's no debate. When there's no debate, quitting has no room. The role of emotional control. Strong minds are not emotionless. They are emotion-aware. Never quitters don't suppress frustration or fear. They acknowledge it and continue anyway. They understand. Feeling bad doesn't mean doing bad. Emotion passes. Action remains. Why most people need results to continue. Most people work like this. Show me results, then I'll keep going. Never quitters work like this. I'll keep going, results will follow. Psychology rewards delayed gratification. That's why persistence feels unnatural, but powerful. The moment everyone quits, there is always a moment when quitting makes sense. When you're tired, you're alone. No one notices. Progress feels invisible. This is the exact moment that separates outcomes. Never quitters don't win immediately after this moment, but they secure the future version of themselves. Mental endurance is built, not found. Nobody is born mentally
strong.
Mental endurance is built by showing up tired, continuing without praise, failing without drama, repeating without excitement. Every time you continue when quitting feels justified, your brain upgrades. Final deep truth. Never giving up is not about confidence. Confidence comes after evidence. Never quitters move first. Belief follows later. And one day, without realizing it, they look back and understand. What once felt impossible became normal. Final closing. Optional add-on ending. If you're tired, rest, but don't disappear. If you're confused, slow down, but don't stop. If you're hurting, feel it, but don't quit. Because the psychology behind never giving up is simple. You don't stop because it's hard. You stop only when you decide it no longer matters. And the moment it still matters, you keep going.